Hey, welcome. So today we're diving into this really powerful message that a priest, Father Blair, gave to a bunch of college students. And it's all about this idea that life is a climb, but that there are two very, very different ladders we can choose.
So let's just start right there with that question. I mean, we all feel it, don't we? Life is a climb. We're all pushing, striving, trying to get somewhere. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what am I actually climbing for? What's at the top of my ladder?
And here's the kicker. According to Father Blair, our culture pretty much sets up a default ladder for us. It's the one everyone is expected to climb. But his whole point is that this default ladder, the one most of us are on without even thinking about it, it's the wrong one. So what is this default path? Well, he calls it the ladder of pride. It's that climb for our own glory, for self-satisfaction, getting to the top no matter what it takes. And we got to be super clear about what we mean by pride here. This isn't about being proud of your work or having healthy self-esteem. No, this is about excessive self-love. It's when our ego gets so big that it literally walls us off from other people. And the fallout from this is, well, it's huge. There's a reason pride is called the root of all sin. It's this fundamental refusal to see a truth that's bigger than us. It naturally leads to looking down on others, which breeds anger and destroys relationships. Ultimately, it just seals you off inside your own little world.
Okay, so that's the default. But here's the thing. It's not the only option. There is a radical alternative, the ladder of humility. And the absolute key, the thing we have to get, is that humility is not weakness. It's not about being a doormat. In this way of thinking, it is the ultimate strength.
This quote from St. Vincent de Paul just nails it. Humility is just truth. It's living in reality, seeing yourself for who you really are, seeing others for who they really are, and understanding your place in the whole shebang. Pride, on the other hand, is basically a lie we tell ourselves about how important we are. And check this out, because this is kind of wild. In his homily, Father Blair mentions that 3,500 people showed up for Ash Wednesday at his church. That's more than showed up for Christmas or Easter. Think about that. More people came for the service that's all about publicly admitting, hey, I'm not God, I'm imperfect, than for the biggest celebrations of the year. It kind of shows we have this deep hunger for what's real. So what does this look like day to day? It's not that complicated. It really boils down to three simple, practical things. A humble person can admit they don't have all the answers. They're actually open to hearing what other people think. And, this is the big one, their focus is on serving others, not on demanding that everyone serve them. All right, so let's put these two ladders side by side, because when you see them compared rung by rung, using these ancient descriptions from saints like Benedict and Bernard, the difference is just, wow. I mean, just look at the contrast here. The path of pride is all about boasting, talking too much, always asserting yourself. It's about rebelling against anyone over you. But the path of humility, it's about speaking thoughtfully, admitting you might not be the best in the room, respecting order, and just being aware of your own faults. They're just two totally different ways of moving through the world. Okay, I know what you might be thinking. This all sounds a little theoretical, right? Well, that's what makes this next part so powerful. Father Blair doesn't just talk about this stuff. He shares his own story of being on the wrong ladder and how he made the switch. He gets really honest here. He just straight up admits it. He says he was totally self-serving, ruthlessly climbing that ladder of pride for success, for recognition for himself. Listen to how he describes his younger self. Confident, sure. Arrogant, fearless, but definitely not humble. You can just picture it, can't you? This wasn't just some idea he was wrestling with. This was how he was living day in and day out. And then the shift happened. He was standing on a mountain, looking out over the city, and he was just hit with this overwhelming sense of his own smallness. And it wasn't a bad feeling, not about shame. It was just a profound, heart-stopping moment of truth about his actual place in the universe. And I love how he puts this. He says it wasn't some gentle knock on the door. He calls it the Holy Spirit booting open the door of his soul. Bam! A total wake-up call. And that was it. That was the moment he started to get off one ladder and find the other one. So this incredible story, it's not just a story, right? It's really an invitation. It's a challenge for every single one of us to stop for a second and take a hard look at our own climb, at our own ladder. And this is maybe my favorite line from the whole thing.
The goal isn't to be passive or to stop climbing. No, the call is to become a hardcore climber on the ladder of humility. It completely reframes everything. It makes the pursuit of truth and goodness this active, ambitious, totally courageous mission.
So why? Why go through all the trouble to switch ladders? Well, look at the payoff. The things that come from climbing the ladder of humility are the things we're all actually searching for. Real, deep peace, not constant anxiety. Authentic self-esteem that doesn't depend on likes or promotions. True courage. The freedom to live life to the absolute fullest and finally become the person you were made to be.
So, at the end of the day, it all comes down to this choice: the ladder of pride or the ladder of humility. A life built on a lie or a life built on truth. The world's default path or the radical, life-giving alternative. The question he leaves those students with, and the question we're all left with, is simple. Which ladder will you climb?